So I went live earlier and I left out some very important points. So I'm just going to redo this. What I want to talk to you about is intuition and ascension and my galactic family, which is freaking magical and like quite new to me. So what I have experienced with ascension, and I know this will help someone out there, is that as you are moving through, like navigating through ascension and your spiritual journey and like really connecting with your soul, it's all about connecting with your soul. Like you don't need anything outside of yourself. Everything is inside of you. And what I have found is that the more often that I stop and connect with Source, Mother Gaia, and my soul, the more highly intuitive I become. It's so beautiful. Now, with intuition, everyone's intuition is different. For me, my intuition is just a knowing. It is not a hearing necessarily. It's not a seeing. It is just something that comes to me. And it is just a knowing. At first, I was like I would overthink it. But then I would see synchronicities to back it up. And so as I would have a knowing about something, see the synchronicities to back it up, it would enhance my knowing. And so my intuition has become stronger and stronger. And now I'm thinking about things before they happen. I'm hearing things and the knowing is so strong that I don't need a bunch of synchronicities to show me that it's truth, that it's real, but I get the synchronicities anyway. And that's really fun. So what I want to share with you is I was almost in a head-on collision a couple days ago. And it has all been an unfolding that has led me to my galactic family. Now, I have been working with galactic beings. If you don't know what that is, we can call them aliens for lack of a better term. I've been working with these beautiful light bodies, these light families in my healing work. A woman named Gabby Kowalski introduced me to galactic light teams. So I've been calling them in to do my healings, but I've not had a specific relationship with them until about 6 weeks ago. I felt Andromedan energy. I don't know how I knew it was Andromedan energy. It was an intuitive knowing. There was nothing specific. It just was an intuitive knowing. The name came to my head and I was like, oh, I've got Andromedan presence here with me. It's like, okay. And then I decided to move away from Facebook and more into YouTube and TikTok. My soul kept telling me to do it. And I was like, okay. And I was taught to tap into one energy in order to get clear guidance about what steps to take, how to go about it, because it was a big undertaking because my entire business has been established on Facebook. And I was like, okay, so the Andromedans, that's who came in. And I was like, all right, so the Andromedans are going to guide me over to YouTube and to TikTok. And everything exploded really quickly. So every time before I would post, I would call in Andromedan energy. And I would see all the souls around the world that I wanted to call in, my soul family lighting up before every post, knowing that I was going to reach all of the right people. Hi, Whitney, that I was reaching all of the right people. And I was like, okay. So I'm feeling this connection with the Andromedans, but still not really knowing where it's going to take me. And so I'm moving about my life, on January 29th, I get in my car. It was my co-parents' weekend with the children. I get in my car and I'm driving to hockey practice early in the morning by myself. And I'm driving and I'm listening to something about quantum physics. I love quantum physics. I'm a retired nurse. I love the metaphysical, but I love knowing the physiology to bridge the supposed gap between like an intuitive knowing and your mind kind of being able to wrap your mind around the metaphysical. I don't need it, but I really like it. I think it's fun. and it enhances belief for many people. And I love to be able to bridge that gap for people. And so I'm listening to this YouTube about quantum physics. And I'm like, I didn't become a nurse until I was 33. And 33 is a magical number. There's significance there, right? Any double digit, it's a magical number. At 33, I was drinking wine with a friend, and it just hit me. I'm going to be a nurse. And, you know, do you speak something out loud to a crowd while you're drinking wine if it's not really going to happen, if you don't really feel it in your soul? No, you don't. You don't. But I knew in my entire heart and soul that, damn it, in that moment, I was going to be a nurse. And I told everybody, because I knew if I told everybody and committed to it, I was going to feel more like fire and obligation to do it, you know, because I've spoken it to the world. So I became a nurse at 33. So and I never felt like I was good at science or math growing up. And so I'm listening to this podcast or whatever on my way to hockey. And I just decided to ask my soul, why do I love quantum physics so much? Why? Why now? And why does it light my soul up? And a name came to me, Marie Curie. Tell me if you've heard of her. She discovered essentially radioactivity, and it actually killed her because she walked around with radioactive elements in her pockets because they glowed green. Little did she know she was totally plummeting her body with radioactivity, which is not good for you. And she ended up with a blood disorder and died from it. Aplastic anemia is what it's called. Okay, so I'm like, okay, the name is delivered to me, and I was actually told that I was her. And I'm like, what? No, what? Okay, but intuition, you just trust it. And perhaps I was in her inner circle, I don't know, but I was told I was her. Okay, yes, bless Marie Curie. Now, she was a trailblazer, right? She was the first female Nobel Prize winner. She actually won 2 Nobel Prizes. She was a trailblazer. She laid a path out for women. I mean, she experienced so much hardship because of being a woman at a time. I mean, this was like during like the World War I era. She was born at the end of the 1800s and died at the mid 1900s, I think. So, okay, so then these are the synchronicities around it. So I start looking her up. First of all, she was the very first book report I ever did. I was in 3rd or 4th grade. I don't know why I picked her. Well, now I do know why I picked her. I picked Marie Curie in 3rd or 4th grade. So that's interesting. Number 2, I look up her birthday. My birthday's 7/11. Her birthday's 11/7. Then my intuition said, add up her birth year for an affirmation. I added up her birth year. When I add those numbers up, it equals 22. My lucky number is 22. I see 22s everywhere I go. The other thing is her oldest daughter's name, or her oldest sibling, her name was Sophia. My oldest daughter's name is Sophia Marie. She married a Russian. My middle child's name is Nadia, which is Russian. Nadia Comaneci, that's where I got it. Okay, now, she died of aplastic anemia. I was a bone marrow transplant nurse. We treated aplastic anemia. It was a very specialized branch of nursing. We treated blood disorders. Blowing me away, right? And I'm like, okay, so there's totally a connection. I'm like, okay, so what does this mean? Like, what does this all mean, right? And so going about my life, going about my day. And then I go to hockey with the kids on, when was it? 4 days ago. 4 days ago. I love you, Whitney. So I go to Whitney, I'm having a download about your name. It'll come to me. It left me. It'll come back. I'm going to reach out to you. Okay. So I'm driving home from hockey with the kids. I've got Nadia and James with me. And I'm driving, going down just a 2-lane small street. And we're driving. Everything's cool, you know. And I look up, and the car in the other lane heading toward me is swerving. And he's about to hit the car in front of me. I'm about 30 feet away, and it's like fucking happening in slow-mo. And so I'm seeing this car swerve, and he is, I mean, I don't know how he swerved out of the way. It was complete magic, okay? So this is my point, and this is where I got to Andromedan. It's coming toward us, and I'm looking at it. And it was so crazy because my mind was functioning like a computer. I was like a boop, beep, beep, boop, 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 boop. I was like doing calculations in my head subconsciously. And I was thinking, when the shrapnel, I remember thinking of the word shrapnel. When the shrapnel flies, which direction is it going to go? When these cars impact, according to the laws of physics, where is this car going to go? In what direction do I need to swerve? How hard do I need to turn my wheel? How hard do I slam on my brakes without the car behind me hitting me? And it's all going through my mind like, I've done this before. Like, I've got some sort of superpower. Like, I'm a superhero. And so I slam on the brakes slightly, not too hard because I don't want the guy behind me to hit me. And I turn the wheel slightly, not too hard though, because I don't want to spin out, right? And I'm like seeing where the cars are going to end up in my mind. It was so wacky. What ended up happening is at the very last second, this car that was heading toward the car in front of me, head on, heading straight toward us, swerved out at the last second. Okay? And then I'm like, my heart was racing for like a split second, but other than that, I was calm, cool, and collected. My palms were not sweaty. I was not freaking out. It's like I knew exactly what to do if that was going to happen. And it's like I subconsciously, intuitively knew that it wasn't going to happen. It's like I jumped timelines. It was magic. It was a magical shift in our timeline that car did not hit the car in front of me head on. It was wild. Okay, so then it gets even more interesting. So then we're in our 2 lanes. You know, it's just a 2-lane road, so I can't get next to this car that was in front of me to see who's driving or whatever. Then we break out into a 4-lane road. And so I'm like, okay, I want to get next to this person because I'm curious. Who are they? I was just curious. Are they an older person, younger person? Because I'm thinking their life just flashed before their eyes. I look over. The side view mirror is dangling. The entire side of the car is smashed. It was fresh. This was not an old car injury. And I just flash of chills over my, like cold sweat, flash of chills over my entire body. The kids and I looked at each other like, OMG. Okay, so we go home. I watch a lot of YouTube videos just to learn just about whatever. I just let spirit guide me in what I'm watching. And I saw something about Andromedan energy pop up on my feed. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And so I click on it. And it's the characteristics of Andromedans. And one of the main characteristics is a love for science. Because Andromedans have come to share new science codes with the earth and to help people break out of the matrix. And Andromedans have experienced galactic wars. I'm like, okay. And then they specifically said that many Andromedans have come and they go into a field of science like nursing or doctor or surgery, something like that. And I'm like, okay, check that box. And I was like, okay. And so many of the traits really do resonate with me. And I just feel it in my body. So then here's the affirmation. Here's the biggest affirmation. That night, go to bed. This is not the biggest one. This is just another one. Go to bed. James wakes up and starts talking to me about sacred geometry. He didn't call it sacred geometry. What he saw in his dream that night was sacred geometry, a mandala. I think that's what's called, a mandala. You know, the beautiful circles that there's tapestries. And so that, because he pointed to the tapestry on a wall and he said, that was in my dream. And it was moving. I'm like, oh, that's interesting because I've been seeing a lot of sacred geometry. I see a lot, but I've been seeing more. Okay, so then the next night I go to bed and I'm laying there and it's like just this knowing comes over my body and I'm just like smiling, I'm just talking to my family and I go to sleep and I have a dream. And in my dream, it's this beautiful sacred geometry. It's a painting and it's light language. It activates me in some way. So I look at this, all these beautiful colors, and it looks almost like hieroglyphics, like I don't know what it is. And it jolts me, and I wake up, but I don't open my eyes. I just sit there with my eyes are just closed, and they're blasting me with light. The Andromedans are blasting me with light, and I'm not sure what's going on here, but it didn't scare me or anything. It was like have you ever stood behind a waterfall? And the water is just pouring down. It's constant, but you can see the flow. This is what I was seeing and I was feeling, but it wasn't painful. It wasn't too much. It really was, I felt like it was just in my energy field. And so they're blasting my energy field with light. And I'm like, gentle, please. Like maybe slow down just a little bit overwhelmed. This is a bit much because I was kind of getting dizzy and they did just kind of back off a little bit. And then I saw my face as an Andromedan. I'm so cute. This pretty little, petite little head. And I had sacred geometry around my eyes. And in particular, what stuck out to me was underneath of my eyes. And another trait, too, that they talk about with Andromedans that have taken the human form is that a lot of them have a significant number of tattoos. I do not have a significant number of tattoos. I have one on my lower back, which they like to call a tramp stamp, which I think is bullshit. I got it on my 18th birthday. It was like my rebellion. So that's my story. So to sum it up, know that as you're on this journey, as you're acknowledging your intuition and the synchronicities that you're seeing, this will grow for you. And it doesn't have to be super messy. The shadow work is important, but you can set the intention that you have an ascension that's based in love and not struggle. Does it mean you're not going to struggle? No, it doesn't. But you are a sovereign being. You are in control. You get to make the rules, but you have to believe that you get to make the rules. It's all about belief. And so how do we establish that belief? You just keep dipping into it. You keep dipping into it because at first I've had a lot of crazy shit happen on my ascension journey. Some really crazy shit. And I now choose love. I choose to ascend through love and no longer struggle. And it's like a nice stream instead of a rushing, rapid fucking river now. And remember, we are eternal beings. There's no place to get to. Ascension never ends. Ascension becomes like a cork floating, bobbing in the river if you just be in the now, take it in, and go with the fucking flow. And acknowledge every time you see a synchronicity, acknowledge it. Thank source, universe, spirit, God, whatever resonates with you. Thank these bigger energies for assisting you. And you don't have to go anywhere you're not comfortable with. Like if you would have told me 2 years ago that I would be working with galactic beings to heal people, well, maybe I would have been like, oh, that's cool. I don't think I would have thought you were too far off base, but this is a whole new level of exploration for me, and it's very beautiful, but I didn't go there until it felt really delicious to my soul. Because there were a lot of programs that I had to shed to feel okay about working with someone besides Jesus or what we call God. All of that, all of those ideas have expanded for me. God is bigger than the Bible. God is bigger than a church. Does it invalidate all of that? No. Does it invalidate some of it? For me, fuck yeah, it does. Because the shame and the guilt has no place in my field anymore. I am a magical galactic being of light who came here to help code the earth with magical science codes to help people understand the physiological aspect of metaphysical, that our bodies and our energy fields are fully in sync, that there's always a way to comprehend it through the body, though our human minds cannot fully comprehend, there is a way to slightly bridge the gap just so you can comprehend it a little more. And do you notice I'm doing light language as we are doing this? This is new to me. I've always liked to talk with my hands, and I think that's what it is. I know that's what it is. So I hope that resonates with you. And I'm pretty sure that makes more sense than the last time I told the story, because I left a lot of components out. So if you're just now hopping in, watch from the beginning, because I told a cool story about a near head-on collision that was really a cool experience in hindsight. But I hope you've enjoyed this. I really have enjoyed telling this story, and I love you so much. Remember, I say this a lot, you're unique. There's no one like you. You have a specific set of codes that is unlike any set of codes. And when I say codes, I mean energetic gifts. You come with energetic gifts to share with the rest of the world. We all need each other. We are here to do this as a team. It is all a web of galactic magic. We came to code each other. You have something to offer me that I cannot offer you, and vice versa. So if you are on the fence about spreading your message, do it. Now's the time. Step out of your comfort zone and start living your mission. It feels really, really good. I love you so much. Have an absolutely wonderful day or evening, whatever it is for you. Like and subscribe. That's something I need to say more often. And throw a comment down below to let me know where you're tuning in from or what your biggest takeaway was. I love you. Bye-bye.